Hi there. On the question of how do you recognize craftsmanship, I'd like to imagine myself and put myself in the designers and choreographers' shoes and think about the time, frustration, and effort and level of experience it takes to create a moment. I also like to think about the level of coordination and planning that happens between designers and choreographers to make something great or just simply to make it work. I also think about if designers took the easier route or really challenged themselves to deliver something that's potentially out of the box. I also consider the level of detail and nuance that's in the choreography and just really dig in and acknowledge the unique points of difference. And something to note that's really important is that the length of time for something to be crafted doesn't always equal good craftsmanship.
It is something that kind of develops as the program progresses. And for me, it's super exciting because I think for me, it's when the emphasis of the program becomes less on the individual elements or parts and effects, and it becomes clear that every choice is about supporting the whole through the details of the design choices. For me, it's also not about just busyness or stuff for stuff's sake. It's about choices that completely support the idea and the direction of the program.
To me, craftsmanship is all about intentionality. It's by design. It's clear, articulated, well thought out and detailed, and it's also functional. It always serves a purpose.
I think it's about the tools, if you will, of our activity. When you see craftsmanship, once you see it, it can become obvious in clarity, I believe, and you have an aha moment. I think you open your mind to the craftsmanship. You open your mind into the moment that you never considered. Done in a way that has inspired you through the tools that we're familiar with. I think that the depth of the crafting, again, based on the familiar, can be so adept in creativity that in a way it can be transformative.
So if you have a block of ice and over time through detailed work can become this amazing ice sculpture to be displayed. That is how I can recognize craftsmanship. If I think about that from our viewpoint and our line of work, from an upstairs standpoint, a few things would be a blank canvas that over time becomes set design, possibly flooring, costuming, colors, production, staging, or a few things that might be able to recognize and see craftsmanship.
I guess I would say that as I'm looking at design ideas as they are happening, that ingenuity that folks have in their design process when they've really figured something out, whether it's the math, whether it is colors that intermix and resolve in a manner that creates some defined patterns, etc., that intellect that goes into figuring that out and making that happen through time is what ideas through time that I think are well crafted. So that's what it means to me. Hope everyone has
a difference between the ability to just assemble elements of equipment moves into a phrase versus the choreographer's ability to maybe bring maturity, a depth, a logic to how some of those elements are connected. Maybe it's the connection to the equipment to the body as it relates to both shape and orientation, and how that changes what the equipment has to do.
That is to say, the skill of the design team, the choreographers, in creating considered and compounding design elements that relate to one another and build over time to create a program that's greater than the simple sum of its parts.
Maybe I can use this because I have heard many people say, oh, well done crafting at the end of the phrase. Like, I hear that a lot. It seems to be prolific and almost compulsory. And I do like it, but I don't want it to become that way. What I did was experiment with ways of using the same word, but actually offer more specified groups of words around it. For example, maybe I'll say, hey, it looks kind of crafted at the end there because you lunge out and then the pole moves parallel to the body. And then I really dug some deep thoughts into it and then realized they want to hear what you notice about it. So then it became something that felt pretty natural and realistic to use in commentary. And so I do like this idea of craftsmanship. Well, really I like Craftorama, but I stick with using it, but explaining it and identifying ways that it's happening. So I think it's a great term. I feel like it does probably get used in a way that feels less crafty. And so there's a bit of irony there. And I hope we as a community learn something about each other's thoughts. This is great. Thanks.